Welcome to our video about 5 short scary stories from around the world. Story 1. Once in a quiet, forgotten town, there lived a black cat named Midnight. Locals whispered tales of Midnight, saying it was no ordinary feline. This cat was a harbinger of doom, known for luring unsuspecting souls to their demise. On a stormy night, a curious young man named Tom decided to investigate the legends. As the wind howled and rain lashed against the cobblestones, he spotted Midnight perched on a dilapidated fence, its green eyes glowing eerily in the darkness. Tom felt an inexplicable pull toward the creature, as if it were calling his name. Compelled by an unseen force, he followed the cat as it slipped silently down twisted alleys and dark pathways. The old town seemed alive with whispers, shadows darting just beyond his vision. But Tom felt no fear, only a strange fascination with Midnight. As he ventured deeper into the heart of the town, the air grew colder and the landscape transformed. The streets morphed into an endless maze. Midnight paused at the edge of a cliff overlooking a tumultuous sea, where waves crashed violently below. The cat gazed back at Tom, its eyes wider and more enchanting than ever. Tom stood at the precipice, entranced by the hypnotic glimmer of the water, the sound of the crashing waves drowning out all rational thought. Midnight meowed softly, encouraging him to take a step closer. He took one step, then another, mesmerized by the cat's pull. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through, forcing Tom to lose his balance. He teetered on the edge, panic surging through him as he realized the danger. Yet instead of backing away, he felt Midnight's piercing gaze urging him forward. With a heart-stopping moment of clarity, Tom understood the truth. Midnight was not just a cat. It was a phantom of death, drawing him to the abyss. But it was too late. As he faltered backward, he stumbled, falling into the swirling darkness below. The last thing he saw was the cat watching from above, its eyes shining with a malevolent gleam before the sea engulfed him. The following day, the town awoke to find Midnight sitting once again on the fence, waiting patiently for the next curious soul to wander too close. The legends would live on, but no one would dare speak of the true horror, the black cat that lured you to your death. Story 2. Jake had always been a curious boy, his sense of adventure often leading him astray. His father, a weathered fisherman, had repeatedly cautioned him, "Stay close to the shore. Jake, the bay can be treacherous, especially at night." But Jake, fueled by a desire for exploration and the allure of the unknown, paid little heed to his father's warnings. One balmy summer evening, with the sun setting in a blaze of orange and purple, Jake set out in his small boat, the seafarer, into the bay. He had heard tales from the local fishermen about mysterious creatures and hidden treasures, and the temptation to uncover these secrets was too strong to resist. Ignoring his father's strict instructions, he paddled further from the safety of the shore, the gentle waves rocking his boat. As darkness descended and a thick fog rolled in, enveloping the bay in an eerie shroud, Jake's excitement turned to unease. The familiar sights of the bay faded into a ghostly white haze, but his curiosity pushed him forward. In the distance, a faint light flickered, a lantern swaying in the unseen distance. Heart pounding, Jake rowed towards the light, drawn by the mystery it held. The wind carried whispers of laughter, a haunting melody that sent chills down his spine. The air grew colder and the light flickered ominously, but Jake's thirst for adventure overpowered his fear. Upon reaching the dock, Jake found it deserted, the lantern swinging in a ghostly rhythm. The laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. Stepping onto the dock, the wood creaked beneath his feet. The fog thickened, swirling around him, obscuring his surroundings. "Hello?" Jake called out, his voice quivering. There was no response, only the rustling of the wind and the distant crash of waves against the rocks. A sense of unease settled over him, but a compelling force urged him to explore further. As he ventured deeper, the fog parted slightly, revealing figures on the shore. Children with pallid faces and vacant eyes stared at him with twisted smiles. A wave of dread washed over Jake, and he turned to flee, but the fog closed in, disorienting him. "Stay and play with us, Jake," one of the children's voices echoed eerily. "We've been waiting for you." Heart racing, Jake stumbled backward as the laughter turned malevolent, echoing off the water like a sinister chant. In that moment, Jake realized he was not alone. The bay teemed with shadows, dark figures emerging from the depths, their eyes gleaming with malice. Story 3. In the heart of the vast Australian bush, there lies the eerie remnants of Herberton, an ancient mining town steeped in mystery and folklore. One fateful day, 3 adventurous boys, Tommy, Jake, and Ben, bravely embarked on a daring escapade into the depths of an abandoned mine shaft, their trusty flashlights casting eerie shadows as they descended into the unknown darkness. The air grew heavy with a bone-chilling cold, and the once jovial laughter of the boys faded into an unsettling silence. As they ventured further into the depths of the mine shaft, the walls bore witness to haunting scenes. Frantic drawings of contorted faces and outstretched hands, a grim testament to the horrors that once unfolded in this desolate place. A distant clinking sound reverberated through the tunnels, sending shivers down their spines and setting their hearts racing with fear. Sensing the mounting unease among them, Jake suggested a hasty retreat, but Tommy's curiosity urged him onwards. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled violently, sending clouds of dust cascading from the ceiling. Panic set in as they attempted to flee, only to find their escape route blocked by a shower of rocks as the tunnels behind them collapsed. Shadows danced at the periphery of their flickering lights, and ghostly whispers filled the stale air, desperate voices pleading for release from their eternal torment. As they stumbled through the labyrinthine passageways, a ghastly figure materialized before them, a spectral miner, his emaciated form frozen in a silent scream. Paralyzed with terror, the boys stood transfixed as the mine seemed to come alive around them. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they sprinted towards a faint glimmer of light ahead, a beacon of hope in the suffocating darkness. Yet, just as they neared the exit, the ground convulsed violently beneath them, threatening to swallow them whole. In a heart-pounding race against time, they lunged through the narrowing gap as the entrance began to crumble behind them, engulfed in a veil of impenetrable darkness. Gasping for breath, they stumbled out into the night, only to be greeted by the chilling sight of the miner, standing sentinel at the mouth of the shaft, his hollow eyes fixed upon them with unwavering intensity. The whispers of the tormented souls of Herberton lingered in the stillness, a haunting reminder that the horrors of the past were not ready to release their grip on the living. As the boys fled into the wilderness, they knew that the shadows of the mine would forever haunt their dreams, a grim testament to the unfathomable terrors that lurked beneath the surface of Herberton. Story 4. On the outskirts of a quaint, forgotten town nestled Hollow Creek Dairy Farm, a hidden gem renowned for its rich, velvety milk and artisanal butter. However, the farm's once vibrant reputation was shrouded in mystery and tragedy, leaving a lingering sense of unease among the locals. The haunting legend unfurled when the farm's owner, a grieving widower, suffered an unimaginable loss as his family perished in a devastating fire. Under suspicious circumstances, consumed by sorrow and guilt, he retreated into seclusion, allowing the farm to fall into disrepair and neglect. One crisp autumn twilight, a curious group of adventurous teenagers embarked on a daring expedition to uncover the secrets of the abandoned dairy farm. As they stepped into the dilapidated barn, a sense of foreboding enveloped them, and the faint echo of a mournful moo sent shivers down their spines. Venturing deeper into the shadows, they were confronted by ghostly apparitions of the deceased family, their spectral forms reaching out in silent desperation. It was then that a glimmer of hope emerged as the teenagers stumbled upon a weathered diary hidden in the hayloft, revealing the tragic tale of the farm's past. Through courage and compassion, they unraveled the mysteries that bound the spirits to the earthly realm, offering solace and closure to the tormented souls. And with a whisper of gratitude, the specters faded into the ether, leaving behind a sense of peace that now enveloped the once haunted farm. As the townsfolk gathered to pay tribute to the fallen family, a sense of reverence filled the air, a reminder that even in the darkest of shadows, redemption and healing can be found for those who are willing to listen and understand. Story 5. In a small, forgotten village on the outskirts of a sprawling forest, there stood an abandoned church known as the Forsaken Chapel. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, warning that anyone who entered would feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Curious and skeptical, a young man named Mark decided to explore the church one gloomy afternoon. As he pushed open the creaking door, a chill washed over him. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of damp wood, and dust motes floated in the beams of fading sunlight. Broken pews lay scattered, and shattered stained glass windows cast eerie shards of color across the stone floor. Venturing deeper, Mark noticed cryptic symbols etched into the walls and a faded inscription on the altar. "Forsake all hope, ye who enter here." While he chuckled at the superstition, an unsettling feeling began to grow. When he turned to leave, a gust of wind slammed the door shut behind him. Panic set in as he desperately tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Cold whispers echoed around him. "Leave, now." Mark shivered and felt the presence of shadowy figures, their hollow eyes pleading for freedom. Frantically, he yanked the door with all his strength and it finally burst open. He tumbled out and raced back to the village, breathless. The villagers knew the truth. The Forsaken Chapel had a way of drawing in the unwary. From that day on, Mark never spoke of the church again, haunted by the whispers he had heard and the chilling warning etched into the walls, forever wary of the shadows that lingered in the forest. Thank you for watching.